I'd like to talk to you about what you saw on SmackDown. And if you don't mind, because I kind of have a hunch you watched it because of the demand we saw, can we
Yes.
start with the main event? Because I'm kind of dying to hear what you have to say about the three-way match, one of the most remarkable spectacles. They held me during like multiple picture-in-pictures. Nia Jax versus Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill.
Well, yes, we can start with that because that was they went from the penthouse to the outhouse. So it's only fitting that we start in the outhouse and try to climb our way out through the hole. Cause boy, howdy. It was Jade Cargill versus our friend, the refrigerator, Nia Jax versus Tiffany Stratton. And did I ever think that Tiffany Stratton would be the Sherry Martell of any equation she was in? Boy, howdy. I don't know why that they had Jax in green and both the other girls in red, and it wasn't the Christmas episode. Did that because
Yeah, they were just like a tag team.
we looked like a tag team against the Jolly Green Giant. She looks like a fucking cedar tree with hair when she's wearing that. But see,
Swamp Thing.
Now don't body shame Swamp Thing. But they start this late in the show. So it showed me they had confidence in it to begin with, and they go 45 seconds, they go to the break. When they come back, they've only got like 10 minutes on the air. And Nia Jax is in front of the announce desk with Jade, and they are simulating fighting. They're locked together, throwing punches while they're watching for Tiffy to dive, right? And Tiffy hits the ropes, and I hope she's okay. And again, I'm not laughing about anybody getting hurt here, but again, they were snake bit. And for the people who say that, well, all Cornette does is criticize AEW and says WWE is always professional. No, I just don't see it as often in one place as I do in the other, but they were snake bit. Tiffy tries to dive through the ropes, and as she's going to dive on both of them, the spot is that Jade will move out of the way while shoving the refrigerator in front of her to catch the dive, but Tiffy caught her leg on a top rope, and it stopped her forward momentum, and she went straight down. And she wasn't even going to reach Nia Jax in any way, who had to bend over and still missed her and just fell down in beside of her because she needed to. And then they fought on the floor, and Jax posted Jade and beat up Tiffy, and then Jade beat up Tiffy, and then Jax beat up Jade. And they were back to break within another 3 minutes. And okay, apparently, again, they figured, Jesus Christ, we'll show the bare minimum of this. They come back, they got 6 minutes on the air.
Did you see Nia Jax give the fans the double bird during the commercial break?
No, even on a big screen, I'm not watching the fucking picture-in-picture over a goddamn ad for vaginal refreshment or whatever's going on the network. But Tiffany and Jade double superplex Jax, and everybody sells, and that was impressive. And then Tiffany hit her moonsault, but there was a save, and they're still choreographing Jade stuff, obviously, and Tiffy is not, the most natural worker yet, but she's athletic. But it's decent. It wasn't nothing bad. And then Jade hit her finish on Tiffany, and Nia Jax pulls the referee out. And Jade rolls out and clears the desk off, and she's going to try to pick up Nia Jax and slam her, give her whatever, the super duper wing bat or whatever the fuck on the desk. And Nia gets out off of her before she gets her up and shoved her into the stairs, and Jade busts her head wide open. I mean, I saw the picture on social media after the fucking fact, and right down through her eyebrow, very close to her eye, and wide and jagged. As people used to say, I'm going to cut you wide, deep, and repeatedly. It was, but at the same time, people are blaming, well, Nia Jax crippled this and did this, and she shoved her, and you're taking your own bump into the goddamn stairs. I'm not sure how to attribute, but did she shove her? I've watched it in slow motion. It didn't seem like she catapulted her with the gravity of 1,000 suns, but boom, she just went right face first into that fucking thing. Did you see the photos, Brian?
I saw a little bit of it. I don't really necessarily like to see good-looking women with giant cuts on their face or anything, but I saw the spot, and yeah, I mean, you could say anything you want about Nia Jax being sloppy, unprofessional, hurting people, and we've seen all those examples, but it didn't seem atypical the way she threw Jade into the stairs. And
did the stairs move?
Did the stairs move when she threw her into them?
Well, yeah. Well, I was it could have been the stairs' fault. You moved. That was the old deal. If a guy had been complaining about you being stiff, you'd grab him and draw back, and you'd say, you moved, and then punch him hard in the I guess he had to be there.
Well, Jade kept working, even though she was bleeding, and she knew she was bleeding, and it was blood droplets on the ground. The referee seemed to be in a panic, trying to figure out what to do.
Yes.
Next.
Well, that wouldn't be the last time. She'd be the referee. This was a she trying to figure out what to do. So Jade still, as a matter of fact, that fires you up. And I think this may be the first time Jade's ever been busted open like that, isn't it?
I certainly can't recall another time. And I do think she actually looked the best we've seen her in a while, maybe ever, in there. I mean, not to say she's Ric Flair or anything, but I didn't think Jade looked bad.
Well, no, but the thing is now this was the same thing as Michael Elgin. Remember him?
Yeah.
From years ago. He was a hot prospect, and he was in Ring of Honor. He and Davey Richards had a match in Florida that became one of the independent matches of the year, and everybody was screaming at us because we hadn't made Michael Elgin the Ring of Honor world champion and signed him to an exclusive contract. He didn't actually have papers at the time to work in the country. Another thing we were trying to get Sinclair to fucking cough up. But nevertheless, it was an average match until about 15 minutes in. And Davey Richards, I believe it was, would go to some kind of superplex or super move off the top rope. And he come within a goddamn pubic hair, as they say, of dropping Elgin off a top rope at a high rate of speed on his fucking head and almost landing on his head himself. And it woke them both up of nearly dying. And they proceeded to have like the 5 goddamnedest minutes of a wrestling match you've ever seen in your life. People lost their shit. And that's what made it a great match. The same principle here happened with Jade. She got busted open and it fucking woke her up. She picked Nia Jax up, and Samoan drops her on the fucking stairs and fires up at the camera and makes the face. Now that's some goddamn, that's the Storm. That's an old promoter's thing. If somebody got clocked and it fucking finally woke them up, that's what I want to see out of you. That's the aggression, right? And Jade rolled in and hit fucking Nia Jax with the big spinning abyss, black hole / Big Bubba Rogers Bubba Slam. And boom, 1, 2, and right then Nia Jax kicks out. And within 1 second, Tiffany is coming in with a drop kick kind of save to make the save on the thing. And I saw again that Jax was supposedly quoted as saying, well, I kicked out because Tiffany wasn't going to be there. Did you see this, or has this been verified as a comment?
I didn't see the comment or anything. I saw the spot. I didn't see anything that anyone said after the fact.
Well, if you watch it back on video and you look down, don't look at the screen, and you fucking hear the referee's cadence of his count, I think she would have been there close enough for the save that by the time she had kicked that person toward the referee, that it would have broken it up. But apparently, the comment I saw somewhere was that Jax kicked out because she didn't think that Tiffany was going to be there. But then, after she's kicked out of the thing and Tiffany kind of kicks Jade out of the way, then Tiffany covered Jax, and she's flat as a fucking board on the ground. The referee counts 1, 2, and holds up without Nia Jax moving. Didn't kick out, didn't move a muscle. Just held up the deal before she hit the ground on the 3 count. And then they looked at each other, and the people start rumbling as it goes into outright booing. You see Jax laying on her back, just calmly looking up, supposedly covered, but talking to the referee like, I couldn't read the lips. I don't know what was going on there, but it's like, what the fuck? And the referee is obviously, I don't know what they were going for. There was confusion. Tiffany got back on Nia Jax and hit her moonsault 1, 2, 3. So the finish was going to be Tiffany beating goddamn Nia. I don't understand.
Nia thought that was the finish.
It looked like it should be, except here's what I'm saying. Is if they were going for Tiffany making a save when Jade had her down and then stealing the win, right? Then it made sense. It didn't make sense for Jax to kick out, except that if she thought Tiffany wasn't going to be there for the save, it would fuck it up. But then she was still going to lay down. But why would the referee not have counted? Then, do you see what I'm...
Yeah, and we've seen this in AEW, I think is the most recent time where it was a clear 3 count because the person was not kicking out or even moving, and the referee stops and holds up 2 fingers and the fans start booing, which is what happened here. What do you think the referee should do? Again, live show, USA Network, main event. What should they do?
Yes, but again, I'm still trying to figure out what the finish was, and I can tell you it's easier to tell you what the referee should have done than to figure out what the fuck this was. If that wasn't the finish, then what the fuck was supposed to be the fucking finish out of that whole thing? Because they obviously had to go back to a moonsault that was flat and added afterwards. So I don't know why the referee, and again, the people are saying that, well, there wasn't heat on the referee. Well, how could there not be? If that was, but ultimately, every promoter or booker that I've ever worked for, including, I'm pretty sure, Vince McMahon, I'm pretty sure I've heard this come out of his mouth on several occasions, but same thing with a Dusty or a Watts or Tommy Young, the greatest referee in the world. Almost everybody tells the referees, if the shoulders are down, count it. It's up to the guys to kick out. I have told guys in the past in OVW or in It wasn't a revolutionary concept. It just had to be reinforced sometimes. If the shoulders are down, the referee has to count them. It's up to the guys to kick out. Now, there are instances where if there's some fumfer for some reason, somebody else is hitting the mat doing something where it's not abundantly clear that the guy heard the referee's first two to know where the three was or what. Sometimes shit like that happens. Or you've been rolled up tight on your head and your ear is squashed by some fucking green guy and you couldn't fuck it, whatever. And you didn't hear a count. That's why the referees always count out loud. Also, 1, 2. That tries to minimize that. And otherwise, again, the referees get hooted at if they count with a shoulder up when it is the legitimate finish. They get hooted at by the fans. They're the ones that have to take the heat for that when it's obvious that a shoulder is up, which is why a lot of times, again, promoters have always taught if the shoulders aren't down, don't count it. They need to get there. So you'll see, and you've seen, Brian, a number of times over your fandom, the referee say, hey, give them the Iggy in the ribs, shoulder, it ain't down. They got to adjust. But I don't, and Jade was the one that had her goddamn brain just concussed, and she wasn't involved in this. It was all the people that weren't bleeding. But anyway, also, I mean, again, all Jade had to do was she hit her move, and then she just either had to be kicked out, drop kicked, shit canned in some kind of way. She got that accomplished. Somewhere in the other three, this whole thing went to shit. But that's what the referees ought to do and are usually told to do. I don't know if it's different now, but I don't remember a time when anybody, in my experience in any wrestling organization from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, or even into the 2010s, where the referee could just not count when nobody fucking moves and they're not mad at the referee.
So if the referee did what she was supposed to do, it comes back to the same thing. It was Nia Jax's fault she didn't get a shoulder up. She lost track of where she was or what part of the match it was, and it was her fault, right?
Well, but I think it was the finish, but I don't know. I don't know why they performed it so poorly that we're having to try to figure out what the finish was. But I think Nia Jax is trying to, I don't know what. That's what I'm saying. We have Nia saying, well, I kicked out because she wasn't going to be there in time to make the save. But that indicates that if Tiffy would be stealing the pin, why would the referee? I don't know. I'm saying that even if it wasn't the finish, ultimately the referee gets the heat because if the shoulders are down and nobody moves, you've got to count it. But if that wasn't somehow the finish that they already had fucked up, I don't know what was supposed to be. So I'm doubly confused. What was the finish supposed to be, Brian?
I think Tiffany hitting the moonsault, right? Didn't she do that right before the end?
Yes, that's after that they had fucking looked at each other and talked back and forth and like, oh shit, well, here, boom, I'll do this and that. They made that up afterwards. They didn't just jump right up and start doing shit again. They all stood there with, I was going to say their dicks in their hands. That'd probably not be an apropos analogy, and figured out what to do from there to continue to have Tiffy pinning Nia Jax.
And again, Tiffany Stratton's been very good, but she's someone who they drafted into the Performance Center and trained from square one. And she was kind of the ring general in there because Nia Jax is no ring general and Jade isn't either. So you have someone who has, does she have the least experience of the three of them? She may have the least experience, believe it or not, of the three of them.
Well, yes, and the crippler, Nia the crippler Jax. Maybe we ought to start calling her now the fucking from Cedar Mountain, Vermont. She's been in the business for these many years, and she's got quite a number of notches on her hospitalization belt. I mean, I don't know if you can even go by time anymore.
You know, we're at a weird time in wrestling, AEW and WWE. Men are doing moves to women, and no one's complaining. It's happening. Could a wrestler get away with calling Nia Jax a cedar tree? That's the big question I would like to know.
Well, I don't see, because cedar trees do perform a lot of wonderful functions. So they provide oxygen into the atmosphere, and they keep you from having to all year round having to look at your neighbor if they grow up high enough.
Well, I don't know if anyone would be high enough to consider that a classic, but it certainly was one of the more interesting matches of the week. Nia versus Jade versus, I wrote Jade twice, versus Tiffany.
And then Stephanie, oh, Steffi V, baby, she came out to stare at Tiffany. And I swear to you, I swear, Brian, with my hand in the air, that I will watch Tiffy versus Steffi without fail, no matter where it is or when it has, what type of streaming it's going to take place.
It's going to be Crown Jewel. I guess it'll be ESPN's app, and I think because it's in Australia this year, not Saudi Arabia, it starts at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, well, good. Good. I can get up and take my morning Rousseau and sit down with a nice Sprite Zero and start my day in a fucking brand new way. 8 o'clock in the fucking morning.
That's right. Breakfast with WWE in Australia. But hopefully that will be good. Stephanie McCurr is a very talented wrestler, and when they were staring at each other, she was probably thinking, what was the finish? But Jim will get...
I was thinking, she's thinking, now I got to step into this mess? What the fuck?
Well, Jim, we'll get back to the mess of SmackDown and what you saw on Raw shortly, but when it comes to what we just talked about, yes. If I had asked you in advance to make some projections about how you think this will go, will there be any injuries? Will there be any botches? Do you think you would have gotten it right or wrong? Let's just say if a friend of ours like Prize Picks offers such a way to make such a projection.
Such some picks is what you're saying.
Yes.
I'm gonna pick which one of these young ladies is gonna come out of the match looking like somebody's taking a hatchet to their face, or I'm gonna pick which one lays there motionless while everybody figures out what else to do when they can't figure out what else to do. And then we put the more or less than over the top of that, and that's why they have horse races. Isn't it right, Brian, that they have horse races simply to determine the upcoming standings in football so that you can pick more or less on, well, yes, because it's football season. So you can pick more or less on football games in more than 40 states now on Prize Picks. That's where, because there are still a few draconian local laws, but most of the country can get Prize Picks, and you pick more or less on pass yards or rush yards or touchdowns or all of the things that daily fantasy people do. Some of the things that people did for daily fantasies back when I was a kid, you don't do on here.
You can also make season-long projections, Jim.
Yes, see, all season long. And Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Now, that sounds kind of shady to me, but apparently it means you can pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns that I've mentioned before. You can pick all of them now. You can gang up on somebody on Prize Picks. And you can follow the other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click, and boom, you got their lineups. And then you can just make your plays based on what they see. What you need to do is hijack the lineup of an expert in the field and then just make all of their plays. And then maybe sometimes you don't even have to stick it back in before they notice. They'll never be able to figure out who took it.
I can't figure out where you're going, but of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching,
well, you can copy the lineups in one click of the players that you follow directly.
If you're following the players,
whether it's a friend or a celebrity partner or just someone whose picks you like and you want to pick the pocket of their picks, you just follow them around by hitting that follow button, and sooner or later they're going to turn their head. Boom, you got their pick.
Yeah, I don't know if that's exactly how it goes.
Check out every lineup they create. Their life is like an open book. My God, there might even be candid photography. It's all in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. You can feed on their personal information. Folks, again, download the Prize Picks app today, and you can use the code JCE to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That means if you just put $5 that you find laying around in the cushions of the couch, and you apply this toward bettering yourself by having a daily fantasy, making some money with it, well, I like that kind of girl, then they're going to give you $50 in lineups when you pay or play $5 in the lineup. And giving away money like that, I'm surprised they're not in a lineup. But they'd wear their hats. You wouldn't be able to recognize them.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's all on the up and up, folks. And of course, you could be on the up and up with the right projections, picking the right players and the right stats and all the other jazz. Whoa, you hear that, Jim?
Oh, I know what that means. That means you're going to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup with the code JCE at Prize Picks, where it's good to be right.